Hello. I want to show how critical race theory, and it's only a theory, it's not science. It's a theory that came up in the 1930s about the disadvantage some people have for being a different race. Now it only applied to white people, it didn't apply to Chinese people or Japanese people or Eskimos or anything like only white people. Because it seemed to me to relate to the colonialisation of places in Africa and other places where white people had a technological advantage in the arms they possessed. If the people in those places where the whites colonised, the black people, had the similar technological advantages, then the whites would not have been able to colonise them. It's that simple. The thing about the race, this critical race theory which is going on in America, it's actually, I laugh when I read about it. I actually laugh because I think it's quite funny, but maybe most people won't see it from the perspective of someone who's been studying evolution and human evolution for a whole of his life. And the thing about it is, there's only one race, that's the human race, and then from that, there's a whole different breeds of humans. There's a whole shades from really black to real white. There's no, people happen to be white should not be held against them, like it shouldn't be held against people because they're black or Chinese. And it's the fact that white people gained a technical development, a technical evolution, what's come on from thousands of years of technical development, and some people didn't, was down to, it's a bit of a mystery, as also it's down to climates as well. Climates kind of drive changes, technical, because people have to adapt, and when they have to adapt or forced to adapt, they start to question and they start to create abstract ideas and they have to be creative to survive, and that's what developed humanity. Now, to say that some people have a disadvantage because of a race, it makes no sense, because there's plenty of white people living in the street wherever you go. There's plenty of white people who fail through the cracks or in prison or whatever, and in the world probably, and it's just a thing. It's about culture, it's about cultivation of the individual humans. And obviously, if everyone has the same education, the same parental background, mother and father, and the same sort of family, they all end up with a very, it's up to their individual then to put the effort in to be what they want, a good musician or a mathematician or scientist or sports player. It makes no difference what race you are, providing you have the education in place. Well, it gives each person an equal opportunity to learn, as far as an individual perspective, about the universe and the environment and technology and science and history and geography and everything, to learn about the human race and gain an interest, a self-interest in how things work, instead of being told by some theorists how things are, or how things should be, how to think, because that's basically how the Catholic Church acted until the printing press, until the Reformation and all that sort of thing happened, the Renaissance and all that sort of thing happened, and then gradually had the scientific development through philosophy, but being reignited after the Greeks had started it and the Catholic Church debunked it, and then they couldn't stop humans being curious through being able to read and discover for themselves and create their own ideas about life. Now, and we end up with Darwin and Einstein and Max Planck and all the other, Niels Bohr, all the other people who have created new ideas have come to them and have spread them, in Tesla, Nikola Tesla. All these people have these amazing ideas and have given the benefit to the whole world, not just to white people. It's not just black people are all using, most of them using light bulbs and driving cars and technology. So no one's saying a black person cannot have technology and can't use a car and can't have any of those things that have been invented through the white man's invention. There's also, of course, black people who are inventive as well, so don't discount that. It's just that they're in a different environment, a different cultural environment, which means they're not having the same sort of challenges, pressure challenges, as they are in a cold or freezing cold environment, which is a different, gives you months of very, very cold winter where you're stuck indoors around a fire and it gets conversations going, got nothing else to do but think and look at the shadows on the wall, and it creates abstract thoughts. So that's There's more to the story of that, of course, than of human cultural evolution, cultural evolution and technical evolution. But the fact that all hell people, no matter where they are from, if they have in an environment where the education's the same, they can culturally evolve the same. And it's almost the culture, the mental culture of the individual, not the family, say the family custom. If you're from Arabia or China, you got a family custom of what you eat. And now you so basically think about food and social structures. But basically after that, unless there's restrictions by government, and the governments are the only people who put restrictions on thoughts. If you think about that, governments are the only people who put restrictions on thoughts. Governments or churches or religions are the only sort of bodies who give themselves an unnatural authority over what can be thought or said or spoken about or discussed. Like now, we can't discuss race for some reason because, and I think the reason why people are afraid to discuss it because they just don't know what they're talking about. They think it's about race, and it's nothing to do with race whatsoever. There's only one human race, and just lots and lots of breeds. Like there's one race of dogs that came from wolves and through interbreeding and breeding into isolation, particular species of that. Well, the species of the breed, if you like, there's a white species of breed, if you like. It's a species of cultivation of the organics itself that ends up in the DNA, what passes on that attributes what are white or black. It's a sort of speciation in a way, but not totally in a way that you would say in a Darwin, in a sense where you've got a total mutation. So it's a gradual mutation across the whole field of one race, of which is the human race. We're all but all the same. We can all interbreed, and that's the point. We just a whole heap of breeds with different customs and different cultural backgrounds, but the race is the same. The only difference is that, and then once you have everyone's got an equivalent education, and I mean high education, I don't mean the education that the left has is insisting on, and you're forced to think this way, but the open and free education many of us totally enjoyed in the 50s. We really enjoyed, they didn't have the internet, we had books, and we got into learning all about the world because we were really, really curious about the world. We didn't need someone to say, this is how the world is. We wanted to find out for ourselves how the world is. Discover for ourselves. Discovery is it's a self-fulfilling purpose. It allows us, gives us our own practical experience and our own view on the world, not someone else's view. I don't want anyone else's view imposed upon me, whoever it is. I don't want them to impose my view upon anyone. I've got no right to do it. People have got no right to impose their views upon anyone. It's almost a crime against humanity to impose a view upon people. It really is a crime against the individuals who they're trying to cancel now. There's this cancel culture, and they're cancelling individuality out using racial theory or all these different theories when the political correctness, woke or what it's called. And it's all sort of a game played with people who haven't got the education to actually explain things like I've just explained, the difference between race and culture and cultivation of the the soul and the mind through intellectual interactivity with a whole free range of material from right back to the Sumerians and right through history. It's all there. You can go and find it, and they haven't burnt all the books yet, thankfully, and not likely to. But we give them a chance, they will. These people are evil and will burn books. They'll burn the Bible, they'll burn everything in the end to stop you having your own mind and researching things for yourself. If they can get away with it, these people are dangerous in my opinion, because they want to tell you how to think when it's obvious. What is obvious, they don't even know how to think themselves. But there's a sort of a self-promotion, if you like, of themselves as some sort of authority, when it's obvious, if they don't understand, there's only one human race, and there's all different breeds. But if you have two people in the same classroom, of the same science teacher, well, they learn about the science the same, and they learn how to speak English the same, they learn how to use grammar the same, learn about history the same, if they want to do own independent research. So the cultivation of their mind is the same. It's always the clash of cultures. The fact is, whites have wars against whites more than they've had wars against blacks. The wars of blacks have been colonialisation wars, which are wrong or right. Well, you can judge them how you like, but blacks fought back. Blacks never give up. They won in the end. They kicked the colonists out, so they won. They got their freedom, and they won in the end. I mean, they stuck at it, and in the end said, "Get out. We want our own countries back." Well, right, but what the countries in Africa are doing the best are the ones that has adapted the principle of modernisation in their government. So the advantage to those people is the sort of government that was invented in, say, Greece. Thousands of years, 2,500 years ago, Greeks invented a sort of government. Romans had some sort of copy of that. The Sumerians are something similar to that. So it's not saying it's white people. It's what the Greeks you could blame then for the blacks not having the same sort of government as the whites. Blame the Greeks. Don't blame English or Americans. Blame the Greeks. It's the ancient Greeks, Socrates and Plato's what to blame, not white people today. Anyone can learn about Plato and democracy and start learning about Socrates and criticise and question, and anyone can do that. And as soon as they start doing that, they become part of the culture of asking questions. And there you go. I mean, so the places in Africa that have adopted the Westminster system and a democracy are advancing more than those places that are choosing to live otherwise. That's their free choice, and that is the difference. That's adapting the culture of the Westminster system advances people. It doesn't disadvantage anyone, it advantages everyone who adapts that culture and adapts democracy, free speech, and cultivates the soul and the mind of the individual. Then no one can be an authority upon you. To create someone as an authority upon you, you might as well say Heil Hitler, because Heil Hitler or Stalin, and that's what they are, the Heil Hitler, or even Idi Amin, some hero. He's an hero of the left now, is Idi Amin. Think about that.